Hey, welcome to Integrative Preparedness. I'm Steve Smith. Well, first off, I want to welcome all of the new subscribers. Again, it just keeps getting bigger and bigger. Every day, I'm I'm surprised at all the new people who have joined. It's great to have you here. I'm seeing more and more great comments from new people, and if you've just joined, I do encourage you to be a part of the conversation. Let us know, what you're thinking about some of the issues we're talking about. Ask questions. I don't always get back to answer all the ones on YouTube. I do answer all the ones over on Patreon. It's simply a matter of time. It's not that I ignore anybody, but I just don't have time anymore to answer everything on YouTube. But sometimes other people do, and so it's become a great resource. So welcome to you all. We just ask that you be nice and don't start any arguments and express your opinions. Your opinions are your own. Don't cut down anybody else while you're expressing yours, and then everybody gets along. If for those of you who aren't on Patreon, if you've been considering it or whatever, I'd love to have you over there. I encourage you to come over there. We do talk about things, or I keep saying I talk about things a little bit different than are here on YouTube. I just shot one and just put one up on Patreon about surviving active shooter and mass shooting situations. I suggest that everybody give that some thought. The world is getting more dangerous. Things are going to get worse, and it's important that you be ready for them. So I always put the link to the Patreon down here in the information section. I also put down where you can get my books if you're interested in those, whether you want to get them through Amazon or want to get an autographed copy from me. Whichever way you want to go, I think the information is down there. So if you're interested in getting a little bit more in depth and hearing about the more specific ways that we need to kind of tune up our game and get ready for dangerous times, Patreon is the place for you. And not just me, but we have a wealth of information over there. We have a lot of people over there with wide backgrounds in law enforcement and military and corrections officers and other things that are just as important. A wide array of abilities and subject knowledge, and so you'll get a lot out of it. So if you want to come over, love to have you. I went down this morning and to fill up, to top off the tanks in all the vehicles. Another good thing of living in the suburbs, for those of you who say, get out of the suburbs. For me to top off the tanks in all of my vehicles, all I have to do is drive a few blocks and fill one up, come back, get the other one, drive a few blocks, fill it up, come back, get the gas cans, take them down. I don't have to drive into town. But anyway, that's just kind of a fun poke at those who keep saying, you need to get out of the city. I love it out in the country, but I live in the suburbs, and I like it here. And so there we go for that. And I'm glad that you like wherever you live. Anyway, I was down there and I saw something interesting, and it was because of this pipeline deal. I got up yesterday. I meant to shoot a video about the pipeline, the hack, and I just got too busy. I didn't have time to shoot any videos yesterday. But it is a major situation. It's not just that people. Now I remember, as a matter of fact, I worked at a gas station during the 1973 shortage. That's when OPEC, and actually I think it was just the Arab states. I'm not sure if Venezuela was in that, because Venezuela is a member of OPEC, at least they used to be. Anyway, they shut off. They reduced their output, which put the put problems over here, and so the supply was dwindling. And I worked in a gas station during '73, and I remember that. I mean, there were cars backed up down the street, down the highway, cars running out of gas, waiting in line. There was rationing. There was a time that we wouldn't give anybody more than 10 gallons. I remember guys getting out of their cars and getting in fist fights in the driveway. It was a mess. And then later on, and I think it was 79 or 80, 79, I think, because I have it in my mind that both these things happened in the 70s. I could be wrong. But anyway, it was the fall of the Shah. It was the takeover of Iran by Khomeini, and the Iranian Revolution. If those of you who remember when they took over our embassy and all that, and that dried up a lot of the well, it did. It took out all of the oil coming from Iran, and I think we had some coming from Iraq too. I don't really remember. It doesn't matter. It's just because what's important is that world events have these effects, and that was a mess too. That was a real mess. So anyway, I'm old enough to remember some of these problems. Uh, so it's not though now with this pipeline. There's more to it than just people not being able to get gas. I read on the news today that there were. And I watched somebody's YouTube earlier. I don't remember who it was that said they went to a number of stations and some of them were out of gas. But it's not just a matter of not being able to get gas for your car, your lawnmower, or whatever. I read somewhere that this pipeline serves 90 military installations. That we're talking about national security here, not just not being able to go to grandma's house. And then when you think about all of and this was aviation fuel too. When you think about all the medical helicopters that aren't able to fly, when you think about the hospitals that are going to be experiencing some shortages, perhaps. That East Coast, there's a lot of people over there. You guys on the East Coast, I know you're getting hit. And even I'm sure it's coming out through. I would imagine it's coming down through, the Carolinas and Georgia and Tennessee and Kentucky. I don't know how far it's going to get. We haven't seen any big increases in prices here, about a dime, and okay, that's going up, but hey, it's a dime, That is not a catastrophe yet. It's an indicator. But anyway, I went down today and I saw something interesting, and that were a lot of people were coming through and pulling up to the pump and being done real quick. Now, what that means is they're topping off their tanks. They didn't let them. They're not filling up from a quarter of a tank. They're filling up from almost full. So they're topping off. And then there were a number of people down there who were filling up multiple gas cans in addition to their vehicles. I wonder whether that would have happened before the great toilet paper shortage, right? I think that really, I think that got more people aware of the fragility of our delivery system. And it's funny that maybe it was toilet paper that brought the American psyche around to the understanding that preparedness is important. But if that's what it was, well, that's interesting, right? Anyway, so I see more and more people, and there weren't lines because the people were moving through so quickly, but there were a lot of people going through that gas station. It's interesting if you think about it that this happened. Now they're blaming, what is this? Dark Side. Dark Side's supposed to be a hacker group out of Russia, right? Russia says they didn't have anything to do with it. They don't know anything about it. Putin isn't a personal friend of mine, so he hasn't called me to tell me. But I know enough to know that not much goes on in Russia that Putin doesn't know about and hasn't given his okay, or at least turned a blind eye to it, or at least says, that's interesting. I'm not sorry that happened. And I'm sure that there's a cut that gets taken there, multiple cuts that are taken out of that. But even though they're blaming Dark Side, and we'll never know, and that's an important thing to understand. I made one sometime back telling people that you'll never know the reason these things are happening. I had a couple of people get upset and say, well, it's important that we know. Well, you're not going to know. And maybe I'll make another one on that. I was in the game long enough to realize that you're never going to know the reasons for all these things. Uh, and so we're not going to know exactly who did it. We'll know who they blame. That doesn't mean that's who did it, and that doesn't mean that's who allowed it. But isn't it interesting that this happened after our current occupant put a kibosh on our pipeline coming out of Canada, right? And isn't it interesting that what's happening all over our country, that I don't even have to itemize all of the things that are happening? And then this happens. Interesting, isn't it? It's almost as if somebody really wanted there to be more problems. What's that old saying, that Latin saying that I'm forgetting how to say it in Latin, but who benefits? I'm sure one of you put it down here in the comments, And who benefits? Well, it's usually a pretty good idea to take a look at that. When there are big problems, who benefits from it? And then take a look at them. I was down in the city the other day, and I'll back up here. A friend of mine just sent me a text and asked me if I thought that this pipeline was going to cause big problems in the cities and whether it was going to drive criminals out of the cities into the suburbs. And so I just told him I was about to make a video on it, and so I will. I was down in the city just the other day talking about the collapse of the cities. Just yesterday, I think it was, or the day before. Now, I live in the Kansas City area, and Kansas City is where I was a police officer. And I just read that Kansas City Police Department, KCMOPD, expects to lose 100 officers this year. Okay, now that's twice as many as they usually use through retirement, attrition of one kind or another. Twice as many. And I said that was going to happen because of our political climate, because of the activities over the last year, because nobody's supporting the police, because of the hatred that's directed at the police, because of the climate that's been created around the police. The good ones aren't going to stay. Some of the bad ones will. Some of those who really can't get a good job anywhere else will. And that's something to think about. If they can't get a good job somewhere else, there's something wrong there, right? And then they're going to have to lower their standards in order to get new recruits in. So we're going to see a total lowering of standards. Matter of fact, I was just talking to a retired major at one of the major police departments around here yesterday. And he said the same thing, that he fully expects for the quality of recruits, the quality of police to just plummet. That's what we're going to see. So do we expect for these problems to spill out, for the criminals to come out into the suburbs? No, because the city is going to be easier for them to navigate now. It's going to be easier for them to do what they want to do in the city. It was already getting easy. And now, because these departments are losing more and more of the good ones, it's going to be easier. Now they may come out into some of the smaller towns, and this is, I know that the people in the small towns don't like to hear this, because there's this idea that all small towns are like Mayberry instead of full of meth, like many of them are. But they have this idea that they're safe. Well, they have very small police departments, number one, and very small sheriff's departments. These guys aren't up to major problems, to be real honest. If they have a major problem, they've got to call on the highway patrol or the state police. And sometimes, if this stuff is flaring up all over the place, they don't have people, and they're not going to have people to spare in the future. I'm not afraid of this coming out into the suburbs because, like I said, it's going to be easier. The cities are collapsing, as I said the other day, into black holes. It's just as they collapse, their own gravitation, keeps things within there, and they're going to simply become crime centers even more than they are now. That's going to chase good law-abiding citizens out of them, which is simply going to make them more and more dangerous, which is going to make it more difficult to attract good police recruits. They're not going to. It's going to be gangs ruling gangs. And I'm going to talk about gangs in another one, and the development of gangs. Uh, they won't come out into the suburbs because suburbs are much different. Suburbs have active, well-equipped, well-trained police departments and sheriff departments who respond to the political leadership under which they serve. And that political leadership responds to the voters and the donors. And those of us out here who can send an email to them and say, "Hey, Chief, what's going on here?" And we do. And out here, like now there's suburbs and there's suburbs and there's suburbs that aren't worth a darn. I know that. I can only speak for my own. And if any of that kind of behavior came out into here, the chief of police and the mayor and the county commission would be getting more emails than they can read, and they don't want to deal with that because they want to be reelected. And so what they say is they say to their police departments and sheriff's departments, "Hey, we're not having any of this silliness out here. Set up, if you have to make a thin blue fence between the city and the city and our city, then you do it. We're not letting any of that craziness going on here." And they've tried it a couple of times, and they got slam dunked. And so that's what I expect. Overall, however, things are going to get worse, and they're going to get a lot worse. People have been banging this drum for a long time, and so, it's kind of like the cry wolf, cry wolf. People get tired of hearing it and say, "Well, you've been saying this for a long time." I haven't, but a lot of people have been saying how horrible things are going to get, and so people kind of stop listening. Well, the day eventually comes, and that day is getting here now, I think, to where it does come home. And these things are going to start escalating. Problems are going to start escalating at a quicker pace. How you get ready for this, how you prepare for this, is do everything that we've always talked about. Keep preparing. Inflation is going to hit. Yeah, it's going to hit. So buy all of those things that you need now because it's going to be more expensive. It's the best investment you can make. Okay. I still have people asking me about making investments. I'm going to make another one about that. And I'm going to say, no, it's not the time. Don't buy gold. Gold is a stupid investment. It's not the time to buy real estate. Real estate is out the roof. It's not time to buy land. It's too high. It's not time to buy vehicles. It's too high. We're going to rerun it into inflation, which means that the things that you use now are the things that what you buy now is an investment that's going to pay off, because you buy a can of beans right now for 79 cents, and a year from now it's $1.49. You have just made almost 100% return on your investment. People don't look at it like that, but that's what investment is. It is buying with money that is worth more. Okay, so that you're able to buy more. Does that make sense? That's all it is. Invest now. Invest in those things that you know that you need. Keep prepping food. Keep prepping. Guns are available again. You can get ARs. I checked a KY or Kentucky gun the other day. They have all sorts of ARs available. If you don't have one, buy one. If you've got one and could use another one, buy it. I'm not even sure what the ammo situation is now, because I don't look for it, because I don't need it, because I've got it. For all those of you who were buying guns and ammo a year ago when I said you should be, because that was a great investment, you're in good shape. For those of you who didn't, at least now guns are starting to be available. Like I said, don't know about ammo, but I'm sure that somehow you can find it. Might have to pay too much for it. Whether you do is up to you. But everything that you do now should be with this idea that things are going to get worse and more expensive. So buy what you Buy what you need now. Um, the rest really is about keeping track of what's going on in the world around you, your mindset. Keep up with the news. Watch both local and national and international. I know that's more than both, right? Watch local, watch national, and international. International affects national, and national affects local, and local is what you have to deal with. So watch all of them. Right now, information is more important than it has ever been. Don't be one of those people who says, I don't watch the news, it just makes me mad, and there's nothing you can do about it anyway. No, there's nothing that you can do about what they're doing, but there is something about that you can do about what you're doing to prepare for it. And that's what preparedness is all about. Preparedness is not about affecting necessarily the world around you. Preparedness is a protective endeavor. It helps you be ready to do as well as you possibly can during hard times. And that's your responsibility. That's all of our responsibilities for ourselves, for our families, and for those who depend on us, and for those that we might be able to help in the future. So I'm going to leave it at that. But things are getting more and more serious every day. We can expect them to get more and more serious. We can expect for this to continue to slide down the hill. How fast it's going to get going, how far it's going to go, there's no way to know. But the one thing that we do have control over is how prepared we are for it. So prep up, guys. You're going to need it. And, if things turn back around, you're going to have it, right? Um, you all have a good day. Remember that I always say we prepare well today in order to live well tomorrow. And I don't think it's ever been more important than today to prepare well. So you all have a good day, and I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.